Napoleon's secret weapon. How books shaped history's greatest conqueror. The young Corsican boy was an outcast among his peers. Speaking French with a thick accent and coming from relatively low nobility, Napoleon Bonaparte faced ridicule and isolation. But in this adversity, he found an unexpected ally. Books. This childhood refuge would become his lifelong obsession and ultimately his greatest weapon. From bullied boy to bookworm, born on the island of Corsica in 1769, Napoleon inherited a love of reading from his father Carlo, a minor nobleman who later became Corsica's representative to King Louis XVI's court. When the family moved to mainland France, young Napoleon struggled to fit in with the aristocratic French boys who mocked his accent and humble origins. Books became his sanctuary. By age 12, he had devoured dozens of authors, particularly those of antiquity. What began as escape transformed into ambition. Reading wasn't just pleasure for Napoleon, it was a matter of power. Plutarch's Lives, the blueprint for greatness. No work influenced Napoleon more profoundly than Plutarch's Lives, a collection of biographies of history's greatest figures. Unlike dry historical accounts, Plutarch delved into his subjects' personalities, virtues, and vices. He sought not to write histories, but lives. Napoleon was especially captivated by Alexander the Great and Julius Caesar. He obsessed over Alexander's lightning-fast conquests and Caesar's legendary work ethic, sometimes sleeping in his chariot to save time. These weren't just historical figures to the young Corsican, they were templates for his own ambitions. From Plutarch, Napoleon absorbed a simple but powerful message. The world is for the taking. Ambition and determination are the means of achieving it. Imitate great men of history, and the world can be yours. The practical reader. As Napoleon rose through the military ranks and eventually seized power, his relationship with books evolved. While still passionate about reading, he became intensely practical, viewing books as tools rather than mere entertainment. His many literary adventures, at least as an adult, revolved around the practical, writes Louis Sarkozy in Napoleon's Library. He wanted to quickly get to the nucleus of a book and then move on. Even during military campaigns, books remained essential companions. His personal librarian, Antoine-Alexandre Barbier, assembled specialized travel libraries focused on military tactics, history, and geography. Napoleon even ensured his generals had their own book collections in the field. Leadership through literature. Napoleon's command style bore unmistakable literary influences. To inspire his troops, he told them they were the heirs of the great phalanxes of Alexander and the legions of Rome, casting them as modern extensions of the ancient heroes he had read about since childhood. His tactical decisions were frequently informed by historical precedent. Before his ill-fated Russian campaign, Napoleon brought along Voltaire's biography of Charles XII of Sweden, who had attempted a similar invasion a century earlier. Considering Napoleon's disastrous defeat, perhaps he should have read more carefully. More surprisingly, Napoleon found genuine enjoyment in the mundane aspects of military administration. "I read these reports with as much joy as a young girl reads a novel," he admitted about quartermasters' inventories. He pored over details of injuries, supplies, and even sock counts with remarkable enthusiasm. The final chapter. After his defeat at Waterloo in exile to the remote island of St. Helena, books remained Napoleon's faithful companions. Understanding that he had reached his life's final chapter, he turned to what had always sustained him. All that remained were memories and books. It was here that Napoleon cemented his legacy through literature. The Memorial of St. Helena, recorded by his unofficial secretary, Emmanuel de las Casas, captured Napoleon's reflections on his extraordinary life. Published shortly after his death in 1821, it became possibly the most widely read political text of its time and gave us famous Napoleonic quotes like, "What a novel my life has been." In a fitting twist, the man whose life was so profoundly shaped by books ultimately became the subject of one of history's most influential books. The Power of Reading. Napoleon's remarkable journey from bullied outsider to emperor of Europe demonstrates the transformative power of literature. His life raises a fascinating question. Had the young Napoleon never discovered Plutarch's Lives, might world history have unfolded entirely differently? For a man who conquered nations and commanded armies, perhaps his most consistent and powerful weapon was the one he first discovered as a lonely boy: books.